Coming up on today's Disney Roundup, Disney has officially announced that Splash Mountain will be rethemed with Princess and the Frog. I'll discuss that and what other attractions could be rethemed in the future. The release of the live-action Mulan has been postponed yet again, and Disneyland Parks will now not be reopening on July 17th. I have all that and more for you coming up right here on the DRU. Hey, it's Jeff everyone, and welcome to the Disney Roundup, where I bring you up to date on what's going on with the Walt Disney Company and Disney Parks each and every single week. If you're new to my channel, please go ahead and hit that like button for me and also subscribe to my channel to receive the Disney Roundup each and every single week. But we have huge parks news to get to, and if you haven't heard, over this past week, Disney Parks blog dropped one of their biggest news stories ever, saying that Splash Mountain at Disneyland and Magic Kingdom will be rethemed to Princess and the Frog. The story of the ride is set to take place after the final kiss, joining Princess Tiana and Louis on a musical adventure as they prepare for their first ever Mardi Gras performance. And in the article, it does say that, quote, Walt himself opened New Orleans Square when it became the first new land added to Disneyland Park, so it feels natural to link the story of the incredible music of Princess and the Frog to our parks. And I do agree with this, and I think it can work, since over at Disneyland they do have a New Orleans Square, but over at Magic Kingdom at Walt Disney World they do not. So I'm wondering how a mountain log water ride is going to fit over in Frontierland. So I did a Disney Roundup episode a couple weeks ago, and if you're interested in watching that, I will leave a link to that in the description down below. If Disney should retheme Splash Mountain, because there was a petition that came out to retheme Splash Mountain after Princess and the Frog. So in the very beginning of this Disney Parks blog article, Disney says that Imagineers have been working on this since last year, but now they are just announcing this, and especially they're announcing this during a pandemic and make no mention of it. So to me, for this, it doesn't make Disney look the best of coming out and announcing it, saying that they've been working on a year. Credit, we don't know if they have or not, but I think they probably should have referenced the petition or referenced the fans in some sort of way. Also, from looking at the first concept art, it's kind of throwing me off a little bit too, since Mama Odie's house is just plopped on top of the mountain, when in the movie it's just sitting in the water in the bayou, and Prince Naveen wasn't included in this either, which I found a little odd, since they say that the story of this ride will take place after the first kiss. So besides having a bayou mountain log ride in Frontierland, I'm really not sure how Disney is planning on making this work, unless maybe in the future they're planning on changing Frontierland to a different land in the future, which could happen since there's a lot of talk now with Splash getting rethemed and Disney changing the redhead scene in Pirates of the Caribbean a few years ago, that they could make changes to other existing attractions that have offensive scenes or characters in them, like Jungle Cruise, Country Bear Jamboree, Peter Pan's Flight, or Dumbo. And after seeing this, it makes me wish Disney would hold off on retheming Splash Mountain to Princess and the Frog and retheme the Jungle Cruise after the Princess and the Frog, because to me, Tiana and those characters would fit better over at Jungle Cruise. And I feel like with Jungle Cruise, if you decided to retheme that or not, it wouldn't take much to retheme that attraction from a riverboat cruise to a cruise on the bayou. But let me know what you think about that in the comments down below. It also doesn't make sense to me how you have a restaurant in Be Our Guest that's one of the hardest reservations to get, and they're not making a Tiana's Place inside the parks, which to me would be just as successful. On the bright side though, Tony Baxter is coming out of retirement to help supervise this, and he was the lead Imagineer for Splash, so there is a little positive with that. But as I mentioned in the previous Disney Roundup of retheming Splash, which I will leave a link to in the description down below, I am glad that Tiana is going to be in the parks. It is well deserved for her and well overdue. I do think it's the right thing too to remove those characters from Splash, since they were in Song of the South, out of that attraction and retheme that. But with all that's going in the world now, it just feels like it's a little forced. So that worries me if this attraction can be as good as it was or even better than it was before. But let me know what you think of the Princess and the Frog overlay coming to Splash Mountain in the comments down below. Just a few weeks ago, Disneyland had announced their planned reopening dates for their parks to reopen on July 17th. That now has changed since the state of California will now not be issuing theme park reopening guidelines until sometime this weekend of July 4th. And according to Disney Parks blog, once they have a clear understanding of when guidelines will be released, they will be able to come up with a reopening date then. Downtown Disney will still be able to reopen on July 9th, but it is very sad for Disneyland as they were planning to reopen the park on its birthday to celebrate its 65th year anniversary. So for years now, the question has been asked by Disney fans on when the Yeti animatronic over at Expedition Everest will be fixed. Walt Disney Imagineer and lead designer of Animal Kingdom, Rohde, has given some insight on the possibilities of that. When replying to various tweets on fixing the Yeti, Rohde says, "It's still an unexpected and unforeseen set of issues, very complex with no easy or timely solutions as of yet." So even from Rohde, he's saying there's no clear solution as of yet to fixing the Yeti animatronic, but hopefully they're able to find a solution soon. Quick note I want to make too is that if you had dining reservations in the parks during the closure, you can now make reservations on the My Disney Experience app. That too is only for guests who had reservations from May 28th to September 2nd, and if you don't meet those qualifications, you'll see the following error message. Additionally, Disney has removed Oga's Cantina from their list of restaurants you can eat at once the parks reopen for the time being, and has added that Garden Grill over at Epcot will offer modified character dining. Now for some company news. The release of the live-action Mulan movie has once again been pushed back. Originally set to hit theaters on March 27th, then with an updated release of July 24th, Disney is planning to release Mulan in theaters on August 21st of this year. Now, I've mentioned this before, I think Disney should have released Mulan on Disney Plus already, and even with an extra charge so they can make up some of that profit for it. Kind of like how they do with ESPN Plus, if you want to buy a pay-per-view, you have to pay an extra charge along with being a subscriber. And mainly they didn't because of money, of course, and also they want this film to do well like the rest of them, but especially internationally. But there are still some countries that don't have Disney Plus yet. If Disney did release Mulan on Disney Plus and you had to pay an extra $10 or $15 to watch that, would you pay for that? Let me know about that in the comments down below. Quick note I want to make along with that is that Disney and Pixar have released a new trailer for Soul, which is currently scheduled to be released November 20th. And if you want to check that out, I will leave a link to that in the description down below. The Hollywood Reporter has also announced that Margot Robbie has been casted as the lead for the upcoming female-led Pirates of the Caribbean film. As the franchise seems to be moving on from Jack Sparrow, the character for her has yet to be said, but the possibilities of her being Red the Pirate are quite likely. No title or release date has been announced this film, but subscribe to my channel and I'll keep you up to date on all the latest news on the upcoming Pirates of the Caribbean film. Now for a quick note I want to make on Outside the Parks news. As DVC resorts started reopening last week, we have an announced reopening date for another DVC resort. Animal Kingdom Jambo House now has a reopen date as well. For the time being, only DVC guests will be able to stay at the resort starting on July 10th. No further information has been announced when non-DVC can start staying there, but subscribe to my channel and I'll keep you up to date on all the latest resort reopening news and with Jambo House. Alright everyone, well that's all I have for you for this week's episode of the Disney Roundup. If you enjoyed it, please make sure to hit that like button for me and also subscribe to my channel to receive the Disney Roundup each and every single week. But that's all I have for you for this week, and until next time, we'll see you on the DRU.